Sarah. Good morning.
एंड हम सभी यहाँ पे इंडिया फिल्म प्रोजेक्ट के मौके पर प्रेजेंट है। कुछ बॉलीवुड चेंजिंग के टॉपिक पर आप बात करने वाले हैं।
आज बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग विषय है, द चेंजिंग डायनामिक्स ऑफ द मुंबई फिल्म इंडस्ट्री.
I think to discuss what those changes have been will only lead to more positive changes.
एंड इस तरह के प्रोजेक्ट में पार्ट लेके कितना प्रिविलेज फील करते हैं आप, या लोग जो ढेर सारे स्टूडेंट आए हैं, स्टूडेंट्स को किस तरह के टिप्स
I think India Film Project is a wonderful platform and opportunity, not just for film enthusiasts, but for anybody and everybody who believes in content creation and the power of content creation. आज के दौर में courtesy the internet और connectivity मोबाइल फ़ोन्स पे सबके हाथ में that power of connection पहुंच चुका है. तो आप कैसे उसका उपयोग करेंगे, उसके साथ क्या कुछ कर सकते हैं, कितना बदलाव लेकर आ सकते हैं, ये सब बातें हम डिस्कस करते हैं. ये 7वां साल है इंडिया फिल्म प्रोजेक्ट का और मैं बहुत खुश हूँ कि बतौर अभिनेत्री नहीं, आई एम हियर एज अ फिल्म प्रोड्यूसर and as an individual who represents my industry, and I'm really proud to be sharing the platform with a wonderful filmmaker like Shashank Khaitan and my beautiful colleague Neha Dhupia.
टिप्स देने वाली है स्टूडेंट को जिन्हें एक्टिंग में जाना है, जिन्हें डायरेक्शन में आना है, या
आई थिंक आज हमारी कोशिश यही रहेगी कि हम अपने लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस शेयर करें और उसमें से अगर उन्हें कुछ सीख मिल जाती है तो ग्रेट, बट आई थिंक द एफर्ट विल बी रियली टू कीप इट अ फ्री व्हीलिंग कॉन्वर्जेशन वेयर दे गेट टू जस्ट गेट इंसाइट इनटू व्हाई वी मेक द चॉइसेस दैट वी डू, हाउ वी आर ब्रेकिंग द मोल्ड. क्योंकि अगर आप शशांक की बात कहें या नेहा की या मेरी, आई थिंक एज इंडिविजुअल्स व्हाट वी ट्राई टू डू इज़ ब्रेक द मोल्ड, डू थिंग्स दैट रिफ्लेक्ट our choices, our individual choices. जैसे कि मैंने 26 साल की उम्र में फिल्म प्रोडक्शन शुरू कर दिया था. It was unheard of at that young age for actresses to turn to production. Neha is now doing her amazing work through her talk show, which is for airwaves. So it's a totally new identity, a new aspect about her that she's bringing forward to the audiences. Shashank, of course, has made an amazing film in Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania, and he chose a subject that was entertaining, that was mainstream, but had such wonderful messages to convey. So I think it's a combination of three people who have choices, who like to make them and will be expressing them.
एक आखिरी सवाल कि आपके अनुसार अब क्योंकि हम देख रहे हैं कि हमारा बॉलीवुड भी बहुत ही फास्ट हो रहा है, हम जनरेशन बहुत ही फास्ट, क्योंकि क्या चेंजेस होने चाहिए बॉलीवुड या हमारी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में आपके अनुसार, क्योंकि आप फिल्म इंडस्ट्री का पार्ट हैं, तो अगर आपके अनुसार?
आई थिंक सबसे बड़े चेंज की ज़रूरत ये है कि हम ये समझ लें कि लोग जो ऑडियंसेस हैं वो कंटेंट ड्रिवन सिनेमा की तरफ अपना आकर्षित हो रहे हैं. दे मोर इंटरेस्टेड इन वॉचिंग things that have a message, have something meaningful to convey, and it's a waste of time to just put projects together and make films that don't have something special to say. So in the name of entertainment. Thank you.
क्यों आपको भी
एंड फिल्म प्रोजेक्ट के मौके पर हम सब भी यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट है और कुछ कन्वर्सेशन भी होने वाला है. आप बताइए कि आप यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट हैं, क्या फील करती हैं और क्या कहना चाहिए?
No, it's very interesting. I think मैं बहुत कम panel discussions में आती हूँ because I always feel that I have a different point of view and a very honest one. So the whole point is that when you have platforms like this, it's important to be a part of it. Not only because you want to express what you feel, but you also want to give an insider detail on what we as people who are cinema goers and people who are part of the process of filmmaking, what we feel about what's happening inside. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling that it's essential we share our point of views, and I'm excited to share the panel with Shashank and Dia. So yeah, it's going to be a great morning, and yeah, the sharer always gets rid of all evils, so we will only speak the truth today.
बॉलीवुड चेंज के कुछ टॉपिक्स पे बात करनी है.
जी.
कुछ टिप्स भी देने वाले हैं आप स्टूडेंट्स को या कन्वर्सेशन के दौरान आपकी तरफ से?
I don't think that जो मैं आज कहूँगी शायद by the time these students end up making films, the face of cinema is going to change again. I think the only thing growing faster than kids in this country is the change in cinema. So I really don't know how much of advice I can give, but I can definitely tell them what I have seen, because maybe it's a blessing in a certain way that, and I feel in a most definitive way that I've been in cinema for so many years that I see a whole change, and then we can talk about that. So let's see what comes out of it. मुझे अभी मालूम नहीं कि क्या सवाल होंगे, मुझे मालूम नहीं कि किस तरह वो पैनल डिस्कशन जाएगी, बट मुझे ये ज़रूर मालूम है that we'll try and make it as interesting as possible.
हमने देखा कि आपके शो ने भी हमारी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में बहुत सारे चेंजेस लाए हैं, क्योंकि जिस तरह से एयर शो है, और तो आपके अनुसार फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में क्या क्या चेंजेस होने चाहिए?
I think we always have to understand that the audience is the most important part of cinema or anything when you do when it comes to entertainment. So an understanding of the audience is the most important thing, and apart from that, definitely being true to your craft. Go ahead, make the movies, tell the stories you really want to tell. Somebody is going to like it, somewhere it's going to make a difference. If nothing else, there'll be a small dent in the universe, and guess what? It's still better than not leaving an impact. Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am. Both of you right, ma'am, here. Neha ji. Ma'am, here.
Please click pictures.
Ma'am, here, both of you right. Neha, ma'am, here, right side.
Straight here, both of you straight.
Yeah, ma'am, right side, both of you. Ma'am, here, come.
Hey, Shadu.
One more, ma'am. Neha, ma'am, Neha, ma'am.
Yeah, both of you.
If I hold her for longer, I might fall in love.
Turn up so early in the morning to see the auditorium full of young students and filmmakers and writers. I think it's very exciting.
क्या कुछ टिप्स दिया आपने अपनी तरफ से किस तरह से फिल्मों को पिच करना चाहिए?
जी, जो हमने सीखा है वही बता दिया लोगों को। मतलब सागर ने बताया कि डायरेक्टर को कैसे पिच करते हैं, जो चित्रा हैं उन्होंने बताया प्रोड्यूसर को कैसे पिच करते हैं, मैंने बताया कि जो एक्टर हूँ मैं क्या देखता हूँ एक स्क्रिप्ट के अंदर। तो जो भी हमारा एक्सपीरियंस है इतने सालों से इंडस्ट्री में, वो लोगों को बताया, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है पिचिंग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोसेस होता है। आप अच्छा आइडिया तो सोच लेते हैं, लेकिन फिर आपको एक कंप्लीट स्ट्रेंजर को कन्विंस करना पड़ता है कि आइडिया अच्छा क्यों है, और वो ना सिर्फ इस पर निर्भर होता है कि आइडिया क्या है, वो इस पर भी निर्भर होता है कि आप कैसे हैं। क्योंकि कभी कभार हम सिर्फ आइडिया में इन्वेस्ट नहीं करते, लेकिन आदमी में भी, औरत में भी इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, तो वो बहुत ज़रूरी है।
एग्जीबिशन भी करने वाले हैं आप?
एग्जीबिशन नहीं, मेरा एक क्राउड फंडिंग प्लेटफॉर्म है केटो, और वो अभी एशिया का सबसे बड़ा क्राउड फंडिंग प्लेटफॉर्म है, और उसके ऊपर हम पिछले 6 सालों में अब 110 करोड़ रेज़ कर चुके हैं सोशल और क्रिएटिव कॉजेज़ के लिए। तो उसके बारे में बात करने वाला हूँ फिल्म मेकर्स कि वो कैसे यूज़ कर सकते हैं उस प्लेटफॉर्म को राइटिंग के लिए, डायरेक्शन के लिए, पिक्चरें प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए। नहीं, ये भाई ये बस हमारा ही है। सीख के भी जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि अब जैसा मैंने कहा सागर बेलरी भी थे और चित्रा भी थी जो प्रोड्यूसर हैं, तो उनका पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू सुनकर बहुत अच्छा लगा, और मैं खुद कुछ स्क्रिप्टें लिख रहा हूँ, को डेवलप कर रहा हूँ। तो ये देखना कि एक डायरेक्टर कैसा सोचता है पिच के बारे में, या एक प्रोड्यूसर कैसे सोचती हैं पिच के बारे में, वो बहुत ज़रूरी है। थैंक यू सो मच।
Because art house, thankfully, we don't do that anymore.
Because we don't have a middle run anymore
Exactly.
in cinema.
But the interesting thing is that because of the failure of big ticket commercial films that have been vacant in some form or the other, or have not necessarily engaged or stimulated the audience to go to the theatre, those filmmakers have realized that we cannot continue to benefit from the ideas that we've peddled for a long time. And what has also happened is that more and more independent thinking filmmakers like Shashank, like Ayan, like Zoya, like Rajkumar Hirani, like, I can give you many, Shakun Batra, many more examples.
He's great,
Yeah, of course, right? So these are thinking individuals who are saying, hey, you know what? I want to make big films, I want to cast big stars, but I don't want to do it the way it's been done before. I want to do something new, I want to do something that gives me a chance to express my fears, my desires, what it is about society that I would like to change. And you're seeing
so you mean the emphasis is on the storytelling and not
absolutely.
the emphasis.
They realize that story is king.
But that's what
your
that...
point.
Okay, sorry.
What I'm saying is your point is that most filmmakers tend to use that indie cinema or tell a great story, but then eventually move on to more commercial.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be exceptions to the case. Like, we can't name, like, we can't say one Nitish or one Shakun or one Shashank, they're like that. But if you look at the number of people, or in fact the numbers dipping here, the number of films that haven't done well in 2017 compared to the number of films that did do well in 2014, it's a dipping number, which is unfortunate. But the thing is, the consumer has so much more pocket content, short formats, digital stuff that's going on. Having said that, I mean, somewhere we need to make the switch, whether it's the writing, whether it's the content, or whether it's the platform we're putting our work out on. And that's something that I would like to talk about as well, but we'll get to that.
Shashank, do you feel this sort of a conflict that, you do want to tell a great story, but you want a mainstream commercial actor so that the story reaches that many more people? Is that something that you face?
I've been in a situation where I've not faced that conflict because just to backtrack, when I went with the script of Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania and I met Karan and he said, whom do you want in this film? What's your dream cast for this? And I said, I want Varun and Alia. Now, at that time, Varun and Alia had no other releases except Student of the Year. So for me, or for that matter, even for Karan at that time, they were not big stars. They were one film old, they were kind of trying to fit in the industry themselves. They were trying to figure out their range as performers themselves. And I found myself in this unique opportunity to work with two young people, still ready to give it 100% to just the learning curve. I went with something, I've grown up on cinema, only Hindi cinema. I'm not much of a Hollywood watcher. I watch only Hindi films most of the times. And but I felt that, okay, I want to tell this kind of story. I was telling you in the dressing room right now that, I want to make films which has song and dances. I do not see that as a step back, or I don't see that as something which says that, cinema is not going to change if you don't change this and you have no songs. Because after doing two films, every wedding that I go to, they are only dancing on those songs and pointing and doing, hey, look your song. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, I've made it, it's done. So I don't think so. It's, as we were talking about, that's a cultural fabric that exists in our country. Even it's unique to us. I encourage that. I love it. I will feel very empty if I have a film without a song and dance. But having said that, there's a certain education I have. There's a certain set of people I've grown up with. There's a certain way I look at this country, the society and stuff. And I want to make a statement on that, but in a limited sense. I do not want to stand and say that my film is going to change everything. But I want to say that, you know what? This is the conflict that exists. This is my perspective. Badri had a track about Vaidehi, that is Alia's character, her insecurities of growing in small town India, which has a feudalistic atmosphere, breaking out, wanting to do something independent in its own way with the backdrop of a love story. And so I felt, and even when I wrote Badri, I never knew it's going to become part of a Dulhania franchise. I just wrote an independent film. Karan said, you know what, pitch this film to Varun and Alia, see if they're excited. They were excited, and then the commercial decision came in and said, let's make it a Dulhania series. But that's not the intent with which I wrote the film. The film was just to kind of
you approached Dharma, wasn't that a commercial decision in itself that you want like the top studio and you knew it would ensure top star?
Trust me, I'm sure if the writer of Newton would have got an Dharma pitch, yeah, absolutely. I have started out after film school going and producing a film on my own. I took a loan of 30 lakh rupees from an uncle of mine and I made a film. I didn't know distribution, I didn't know production. I was just fresh out of film school. I went and made that movie. That movie taught me lessons which no film school taught me. That film taught me that what does the distribution network do? It taught me that it hurts when you lose money. It taught me, I just paid back that loan to my uncle right now after the success of Badri. But it teaches you things, you know. But it's not made me bitter, it's not made me realize. It made me realize the importance of what a good producer can do, what a good distribution network can do. And that's the day I made the film with young people, I made the film with a lot of passion. And that's the film because of which I am here today. Because everyone who saw that movie said, you know what, you seem to know how to write and direct. Maybe you will get an opportunity later on in life. And once I got into Dharma, I said I want it all. I said I want the best canvas to be able to tell my story in. If I'm getting the best actors, lovely, let's go and do it. But it's not mindless. You know, so when I go to Karan Johar and say, listen, you know what, I want to make Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania, he doesn't say, chalo, 100 crore, jao, banao picture. It doesn't work that way. You know, there is a budget to that as well. He puts the budget in place and then he fires me if I'm going over budget. There's a grammar to it, you know, and there's a certain dynamics of finances which come in. But having said all of this, I think of none of that. I write the story I want to write. I believe I've written the best film possible, whether it was Humpty or Badri. People can have their own perspective and that's great. People should have their perspective. If you ask me, I say, hey, I've written a fantastic film. I'm going to go and produce this film and write it. Then when I go down to writing my next film, I'm going to go and revisit and say, you know what, I could have done this better. You know what, I felt my writing was weak here. You know what, I'm not happy with my choices. But that's called evolution, right? As a person, I'm growing, hopefully.
You correct as you go now.
Yeah, you learn. I won't even say correct. You learn. I was a different person in 2014, just in terms of my experiences. You know, the kind of experiences I had when I was in 2013 versus in 2017 is 4 more years of my life. So, you take those decisions and say now, and again, now I'm going and making a film with newcomers. After Badri, everyone came to me and said, you know what, I think you're going to go and make this big budget film, why don't you go to some of the biggest stars? I said, well, the story I want to tell demands that the actor should be 19 years old. So until unless I fake someone who is 40 into looking like 19, or I just go and cast 2 19-year-olds.
Which a lot of people do, still,
Be the first.
unfortunately.
Well,
That's one of the unchanging dynamics of our industry.
But also like to know your thoughts on this. How much, when you say, you know, like your storytelling is your priority and you want to sort of utilize the best resources that you have to sort of say that story, but again, you do have these songs that interject with it. And when I'm watching it, it kind of hampers my experience because I know it doesn't organically fit in there. You know, it's done for like commercial respite or it's done to like sort of promote it in a better way.
No, I don't agree with that at all. I think that, like he said, it's such a unique part of our storytelling. Songs, if they're used effectively.
I mean, I try my best to make it as logical as possible. I mean, I feel that if you ask me that, yeah, man, Tamma Tamma was damn logical in Badrinath Ki Dulhania. Someone might turn and say, why the hell are they singing? But go to Singapore, go to this club in Clarkies, which is an Indian Bollywood club. You will find exactly people like Badri and Vedhi going over there, hearing Tamma Tamma and dancing to it. So I think it's
Hindi
like...
songs in Singaporean pub?
No, yeah, Bollywood club. There are Bollywood clubs in Singapore as well. There's a Bollywood club in every city in this world. So they are listening to those songs, they are lip syncing. You know what? Let's say if I go down here and I play a song which all of us have heard, it will give you a sense of nostalgia, you will sing along with that. That's exactly what I did logically.
I also think that because as a society in India, music is such an integral part of our everyday lives. All our occasions are incomplete without music, and I'm not talking about playing the recorder. I'm talking about live singing. You know, people sing in get-togethers. We have so many, whether it's a wedding, you have the dhol, tappa, you have all of that. I think what films do is they heighten it. Yeah, you just heighten the experience.
And commerce is important. And commerce is important. As you say, the word commercial is extremely important.
would you say? You know, like when we talk about changing dynamics, it's also that we don't have lip sync songs as much as we used to in the past. You know, most of them take the story forward or are sort of immersed into the narrative. Don't you think like that's a better way to go about it?
I think so, and I think that, like I always say, the audience strangely, you know, there was a time that you could, and no offense to the audience that was there 15 years ago when I started, but there was a time that, you know, they could get swayed. But right now, songs, music is very essential to, yeah, you know, like they say, picture ko garam karna hai, you've got to spread the message. I love Bollywood music. The only time I hit dance floor at a party, no matter how drunk or sober I am, I only do it when there's Hindi music going on. So yes, one thing is, music is an essential part of our society. The fact that all of us love Indian music. There's Indian population all over the world. I've been to clubs in Singapore where they've only played Hindi music. All of that is great. The other side of it is, the audience is like, चल यार गाना शुरू हो गया है, अब पॉपकॉर्न ले आते हैं, चल अभी बाथरूम हो आते हैं, you know. So, and we invest sometimes as people in the business and filmmakers and producers sometimes invest more in that one song where they're going to get up and have popcorn than we've done in the entire film. I mean, actresses spend 6 months in the gym for that one song as opposed to, you know, spending 6 hours in the gym for the entire film. Like, you know, there's a flip side to it. Or an acting school. Like, there will be 4 months of dance rehearsals, but there will be no readings whatsoever. But I'm just saying there's a flip side and a funny side to it altogether. The reason why we're all here is because you guys should know everything. You're entitled to know it. But having said that, I mean, if it's, again, Dangal, great way of putting music in. Shashank, I love your films, I love the music. That song from Badri, not...
Badri Ki Dulhania.
Badri Ki Dulhania is my #1 track on my jogging list. Like, it's my warm-up song. As amazing or as ridiculous as it sounds.
You know, talking about people and songs, you know what was the #1 biggest criticism of Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania by the, I'm talking about 2-tier and 3-tier cities, that end में जो Saturday गाना आता है ना, वो अपने full screen पे क्यों नहीं रखा? That was the #1 criticism of Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania from distributors and exhibitors from 2-tier and 3-tier cities, because audiences are getting upset कि along with half the screen there is a rolling credits happening. Please keep it full screen.
People start walking
But you know,
we are living in a different, we are living in our own country, we should accept what it is. And when we're talking about a changing dynamic, it is about saying that, okay, let's have some more logic into it.
Yeah.
Let's say we can have some more about, as she mentioned, empowerment. It's also about saying that, you know what, I'm going to use whatever intelligence I have and use it. It might not be great intelligence, it might not be limited, but this is my understanding of New Age cinema. I'm going to make it this way.
But you know, I've also heard of, and I don't know if I should be like spilling all the beans, but across the table I've heard of a really big A-lister stars film being made, and it was a sequel to a really big film, and they were like, चलो 5 गाने डाल दिए, ये हो गए 25 मिनट, 5 एक्शन सीक्वेंस है, ये 25 मिनट और 50 मिनट हो गए, और बचा 1 घंटा 10 मिनट. ऐसे करते कि अच्छे राइटर को बुला के ना 1 घंटा 10 मिनट करके हम पिक्चर बना देंगे. So this kind of stuff
also
work. No, but
exactly.
the part 1 worked, and the part 2 didn't work, and it was a huge star who was in the film, and it was. It's just, I mean, sometimes films are made like this, and then sometimes there are films that are based on research for like 4 years and 5 years that are made, and I'm telling you, it pays off, it shows, and the audience definitely laps up to it. Sometimes you don't even get to know. Like, what was that film that Mukti Bhavan? Like, I mean, it's amazing how, you know, everybody started talking about it, again, mentioning lipstick, timing, controversy, social media. Everything adds up nowadays, you know.
Yeah, as a producer, what would you say about the idea of remixing old songs? You know, whether it's from the 90s. Shashank, I believe you had two songs in Badri that were, the title was from Teesri Kasam, I think.
We actually used in the first film that we made, Love Breakup Zindagi, we used Maise Meena Se. And which is, you know, that Neelam and Govinda song. So Sahil and I, who Sahil of course is my husband now, but at that time he was my director and co-producer, and we had grown up on this song. It was an 80s big blockbuster song. Actually, it had gone under the radar in the 80s. And we both loved that song. And when we needed to design a sequence for the weddings in the film,
We of course had Javed Saab write amazing lyrics in Rab Rakha, and that kind of explored the dynamics of festivity in a wedding in the sequences of the wedding in the film. But when we wanted to do the wedding Sangeet performance, in real life, we always choose a song that we identify with, that we've loved or want to perform to. So we identified Maise Meena Se, and it was remixed, but without corrupting the soul of the composition. Yeah, we didn't mess with the composition, the essence of the composition. I think there was a few more grooves and beats added to just up the tempo a little, but otherwise we didn't mess with the song at all. And I think that was a conscious decision we made because we didn't want to ruin the beauty of the original track. And we really enjoyed performing to it. And I know a lot of people who watched the film really loved the song because it kind of brings a sense of nostalgia. You really love it. And speaking about Tamma Tamma, that was again a song that we grew up to. We loved dancing to it as children. And it was really cool to see Varun and Alia bring that song back to us.
Also give you a perspective on Tamma Tamma. When the song got finalized, when I heard the song, I said, I love Tamma Tamma. I wanted the film, Karan loved it. The two actors I'm working with next, they are 19, 20 years old. I said, you know what, we are recreating Tamma Tamma. And they were looking blankly at me. They were blank. I said, you don't know Tamma Tamma. They've never heard of it.
Millennials.
They've never heard of it. So
Introducing an iconic song to
there is a
Millennials
different
have heard
generation.
Tamma Tamma. I mean, these guys are beyond millennials.
They are
Millennials.
You know, so but that's what I'm trying to tell you, we tend to believe as at our age that, this is done. At our age, we're like, you know what, everyone's heard it. That's not the truth. Generation gap is no more 10 years. Generation gap is now happening after every 3 to 4 years. Like my younger sister's about 7 years younger to me. It's tough to have conversations, because I'm like, have you seen TV? And she's like, I haven't seen TV for 3 weeks. I'm like, why? Because she's like, I'm consuming everything on the net. I need the newspaper every morning. She does not need she has never read the newspaper.
But
all her content. So it's a different generation.
But isn't that great, Shashank, that everything, we have to understand one other problem with content, and then of course everything being consumed as far, in your palm, is that the world has become flat. Like there were series that would come into India. I still remember when 24 came out, I bought the DVD box set of it. Because
DVDs.
yeah, what are DVDs? Exactly, great question. Now, Game of Thrones releases in India at the same time. The world is flat. India is not behind. We don't have time difference. That's another main, it's a very core issue why people are like, hey, let's not go to the theaters. Ghar mein jab aayegi, tab hum dekh lenge picture. We decide instantly. And because I'm just like, listen, there were like 5 films that came out and I was just like, should I go watch this? Or should I stick to watching Game of Thrones, Ozark, this, that? There were like 15 other options that I had. But I was just like, no, I'm going to consume great content sitting at home. So if we're not going to be at par, we're not going to be able
in touch with the young audience.
Yeah. And it's not like in the West when there's content that was being made for television which started much earlier. The writing was at par with cinema, so we need to get ahead.
It's gotten better.
And I'll tell you this perspective on songs which we use commercially, and I'll tell you the perspective we had when I was in film school in Whistling Woods, we had an actor who had acted in The Shawshank Redemption, who is also now a writer and a teacher over there who came to our institute, and we were discussing songs as a medium of commercial communication, and he told us that America made a decision in the 20s, like how we use songs, they are going to use sex and nudity. So you have so many Hollywood films where there is a sex scene which comes on and it goes on endlessly. You are like, okay, I get the emotion, right? You go to kiss, you love the person, you kiss for 2 minutes and then they break into a sex scene. We don't go and eat popcorn that time because we want to go and see the sex scene. We're like, yeah man, this is making sense to us. But that's how they use the commerce, There's a stat on Game of Thrones, which is probably rated the #1 show in the world of all time, and yet it says that there are 25% of people who watch Game of Thrones only because of the sex scenes, only because of the violence that happens in the thing, and they are not relating to the content. So the point is, if we were allowed to have sex scenes openly in our films, maybe we would have seen lesser songs. You know?
I would choose
So,
that.
wait a minute. So you go to Singapore and you go to the nightclub and you make out and you don't dance. You're like, no, Alia Bhatt starts smoking each other.
We don't do music.
अभी तुम एक दूसरे को चुमा जानी शुरू करो क्योंकि अभी सेंसर बोर्ड नहीं हमें रोकेगा.
I was asked when I had a kissing scene in Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania, and I was told by the censor board, cut 3 seconds. I'm like, how will that help? I mean, it's an emotion, you know.
It will change society.
And trust me, it was my first film. I was very sincerely standing. These were the 2 people. I'm like, ma'am, you know, I was trying to explain the scene to them. I'm like, ma'am, they're meeting for the last time. They will never meet again. It's a really important meaning. And then the guy said,
3 seconds.
3 seconds, family audience disturb ho jayega. I said, how can they get disturbed? Isn't that the reason we're all in the world? That's how we came in, right?
I don't think so.
No, we came in with the song and dance.
Yeah,
We didn't come in with the sex scenes.
Trust me, if my parents were holding 2, flowers and just touching them, nothing would have happened. Right? So the point is, really the point is, hopefully, well, he's out now. Now we'll speak to press also. But my point is, if we had other elements, and everyone needs commerce, you know, and that's the truth. You can also read about it. I read about it. That's what Hollywood did. There are a lot of scenes you will see in Hollywood where they use sex and nudity endlessly. And we use songs. This is our commerce, you know. In the song only we imagine things.
Quickly jumping here, there's one element that we must acknowledge because it's very important part of our storytelling. One is, why do we rehash old songs, reproduce them? Interesting point brought forward that it's reintroducing it to a new generation. And if it's done well, it's always good to happen. The other thing is, maybe songs have been used as an escape route because we've not been allowed the playing field to express the emotions that we actually want to express. But there's another very, very important thing about our songs, and I discovered this working with filmmakers like Rajkumar Hirani, where he would beat himself up trying to find the right lyrics to convey a thought. And I know this, that film after film he's done this, and there are a lot of filmmakers in our country who take their music very seriously. Songs for them are thoughts that they're introducing through their cinema.
As long as it's that,
And no, there's no hard and fast rule. That's what I'm saying. That it can be a relief. It can be to generate or augur a familiarity or an attention from a younger audience. It may be an opportunity to make somebody dance at a wedding or at a nightclub. And in many cases, it's also an opportunity to express within a limited span of time something that you really care to express in a beautiful, heightened manner.
Yeah, I get that, but as long as the songs provoke thought or, are written, but I don't think so a Chikni Chameli or, a Favicol says doing it.
It provokes a lot of thoughts. What are you
thoughts.
talking about? Chikni Chameli gives you more thoughts than any other love song.
Sorry? Absolutely.
For example, if just to get a bit pompous if I can, I thought Main Tenu Samjhava Ki was a beautifully shot video. It had a great emotion about that with that.
I have to say that,
And if the music company is very happy with you, you'll get more money for the producer, then he'll become happy and your next film will have more money. That's how you break the commercial cycle as well.
Okay, I'll give you another example.
But then aren't we 1 minute? But then what you just said, Shashank, it's still we're going back a full circle. The whole point is we start this conversation discussing films like Newton and all of that. And now we're saying that, okay...
Celebrating Chikni Chameli.
Yeah, that's what it is, we are now saying huge applause for Chikni Chameli. Nothing wrong with Chikni Chameli.
My point is enjoy both.
Which is okay, but when he started off saying that films aren't doing well, and the films that haven't done well have had amazing music, it's best I don't name films that haven't done well, we all know.
Amazing music songs are not, have done very well.
But that's what I'm saying, no, films have had great music, some films have had women looking amazing, pole dancing and doing other things, but those films don't do well. What do?
You try harder.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You try harder not on the pole, you try harder on the writing desk. That's what you need to do. Your
I'll tell you
pole is
what,
your
I come
pen.
from a very honest perspective. My thing is make the film you want to make. And I mean, all jokes apart, write the script you understand write that script. If you write it with a certain amount of conviction and belief in yourself, and if you feel that the moments are true, it will connect to people. That's my honest belief towards it. And I mean that's it really. That's what I can say, because every time I write a scene in my movie, I believe that there's certain emotion to it which is connecting to people, and that's the reason they are connecting.
So
to
you're
the film. So
basically
be
saying
honest
that
with
if
them.
you, honesty. If you do it Chikni Chalemeli with honesty, you wouldn't be Chikni Chalemeli.
For example, when I saw Kapoor and Sons, it's a Dharma film. When I saw Kapoor and Sons, Anjum Rajagali sir is in the house and I should shut up because he's sitting looking at me right now and he like, "Tu bahut baatein kar raha hai, maine tere ko sab sikhaya writing ke bare mein." Sir, really sorry, all I'm talking. Now I can't talk now, you can, the stage is for the two of
Were
them.
you making a point? I just wanted to say I don't have a problem with songs, obviously I enjoy them too. It's a problem and it's recycled because you're not leaving an original pop culture footprint. You know, for the generation to come, they
But
have...
it's okay, it's evolution. Yeah? I mean, there are a lot of people who love my Tamma Tamma more than the original Tamma Tamma. There are some people, a lot of them have said, you shouldn't have touched it, but it's fine, it's a perspective. And trust me, I'll be very honest. If there are 10 other remix songs available for me, I'll go and use them if it fits into my film. There's a certain aspect of commerce which I believe in, but I also believe I have enough intelligence to use this logically in my film to not hamper my storytelling. Nobody will get out of the film saying that climax didn't work because I was distracted by Tamma Tamma. And as far as that is not happening, I don't have an issue, personally. And everyone, and I think people who are making all kinds of cinema do that. I am getting to the point, when I saw Kapoor and Sons, I loved the film, but I can't make that film. I don't know how to write that movie, because that's not the kind of film I've grown up seeing. When I start writing my own scripts and characters, it does not come naturally for me to be able to write that family drama or that dynamics. Probably I'm from Nasik, I'm from a smaller town, I understand the dynamics over there. I travel a lot in the interiors of India, and trust me, all the issues which we so-called cliches, or it's an old issue like dowry, or you know, for that matter, feudalism and people not allowing women to work, it exists in our country today.
Nobody is making movies on that, no?
I just did.
No, but the thing is, okay, speaking of social issues or something, but even for instance, let's look at a director like Kabir Khan, who we all love. He started off making these amazing documentaries and then he moved on to making films which are mainstream commercial films to now making...
They also have a message, Neha.
No, I agree. I mean, sure, we can talk about the message. They do. But I'm saying, but now, you know, there's like 200 crores pumped into 5 episodes of some, you know, on some TV series, which is a love story that's being made. But I always come from this point of view that we need to work excessively on content. Like you can see when Kabir was making those documentaries, the content was, you know, I've seen all of them and I'm a huge Kabir Khan fan, and you know, there was a different kind of message that was sent out, and the message was there was immense amount of time being spent on the writing, whereas somewhere down the line, when the numbers get large, somewhere there are there are projects that are being made on an Excel sheet and on paper. You know, there's
Neha, there are other forces also that come into play sometimes that filmmakers become restricted by.
No, I'm not saying.
It's unfortunate.
But there need to be more social messages that need to be put out. Is the point that I'm trying to make.
Our industry is a reactive industry. We react. So actually, what you're seeing in 2017 are the choices which went wrong in 2015 and 16. They are not choices of 2017. All these films were approved either in 15 or 16. They were maybe approved because of reasons which belonged then. Now, seeing the trend of 2017, there will be better films which will come out. There will be decisions taken which will like, you know what, we just can't get a star on board because it's not going to help the film. We need to invest in content. So I think that is also going to definitely happen. And there's another reality. We cannot change every audience. You know, the role of education has to play a role into that. You know, people are not going to change just seeing cinema. If the social fabric is not teaching them education at the grassroots level, it's not going to help them. They are going to consume content based on their life experiences as well. We can't change that. I can't get into a person's life and say कि तुम 4 साल की उम्र से Newton देखना चालू करो. He's going to react to that the way he sees the cinema. So my point is, I'm making cinema based on my experiences. People are doing exactly that, and we'll all find our audiences. There's a certain reality that our country comes with. We worship heroes. We still do. And that's a reality. You can either fight it or live with it. We are slowly going to start working towards saying that, you know what, content is going to become my king. People are going
But
to...
Shushan, if
I
you give
just
them...
want to jump in here once before he finishes, Nate. Listen, this thought that he's just given us is a very important thing, because what he's actually in a sense saying is that the sum total of what we experience as audiences, but also what we experience as makers, and I'm not just talking about producers, but directors, actors, is a sum total of our choices as well. I think what is becoming more and more apparent is that our individual choices add up. The things that we choose to say no to as filmmakers, as actors, as producers, as audiences will lead to what gets made eventually. Like I remember when Queen released, it was a Kangana Ranaut film that did so well. Before that, there were a few Vidya Balan films that had done exceedingly well. And suddenly, audiences, of course, there's a lot of talk about how now suddenly the industry is going to celebrate female-centric films and narratives that have a female character in the lead are going to gain popularity and more people are going to watch them. But that has not happened. So again, it means two things. One, that whether the central character is male or female, so long as enough attention and time and detail and honesty is delivered to the film, it is not going to translate into results. Two, audiences at large generally tend to go to theatres to watch male-centric films. They haven't empowered female-centric films as much as they've empowered male-centric films.
For that paradigm to shift, you need to give them more women-centric films.
I-
If you've only given them one
We
thing,
all
then
can't make it. Now we have to tell a
too
story.
conditioned into
And
that.
I think if you see Badrinath Ki Dulhania, you will see that there is a certain equality to the, forget the, I'm not going to get into star structure, ki hero ka role or heroine ka role and all that. There is a certain weightage given to both the characters. It's a story which talks about two equals, and in fact for that matter it talks about a girl who is superior to the guy, whether it comes to life choices and intelligence. So I think choices like that are being made, but all those choices cannot be made and saying that let's make it without song, without dance, without commercial, without humor, without music. I chose to tell that story. I can very well tell that story without any songs. I can very well tell that story without it having any humor in it as well. I chose to say it with some sense of humor with that, because I personally feel when you see a film which has humor attached to it and doesn't take itself seriously, you connect more to it. You know, I connected to a Three Idiots far more because it gave me a message about the education system. It said it lightheartedly without taking itself too seriously. So that's the choice I made as
It's your
a filmmaker.
sensibility and it could
Exactly.
differ from somebody who's making...
So I think we are trying to push the thing, we are trying to do that, but it's not going to, you know, we're not going to have utopia tomorrow. We're not going to have an idealistic world like happening tomorrow. It's going to take its time, and I think we're all working towards that.
You know, see my driver in his free time, he would be standing next to watching videos, but now he does and he follows a show, and you know, it's glad it keeps him busy as opposed to sitting and, you know, doing something else and wasting his time and just waiting around, which is a great thing. But having said that, it's a scary number, and the number of mobile phone users, no matter what, is going to increase. There is free service. Of course, when free service is given, the numbers also say the maximum downloads was porn, which is alright. But apart from that, people were watching content and they could choose from so much out there. Yeah, it's a huge catalog out there.
It's been really, really short on time. Quickly, I mean, this conversation wouldn't be sort of complete until we invoke, you know, this word that has been embedded in our consciousness about nepotism. And guys, here we have three very successful people who we'll get to the Q&A just in like a couple of minutes. Three people who are rank outsiders who made it into the industry without any connections, hopefully. So, any thoughts?
What's hopefully?
So, Neha, starting with you, do you ever feel the favoritism kind of acting as a hindrance in your career?
You know, honestly, I would have answered this question if it was like, you know, 3 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago before, or 3 months, whenever this controversy started. And
answers are still the same, right?
I mean, it is, but it's just, now it's just going to be, it's going to be blown out of proportion and something else is going to come out of it. And, I just...
How do you perceive the situation?
Right now, it's one of those nepospasm situations. The minute you take that word, I'm getting a spasm, like I'm cringing. I can't answer this question because there's a huge, national debate going on about it. And
it's a good debate to have.
It is. There are 2 and 3 very important people in the industry are talking. I'll let them take the lead. I'm going to be a bystander and I'm not going to comment on nepotism. Up to you.
Yeah.
Budgets have never got cut because of that. So, because of nepotism, my budgets have never got cut. As in someone who, I've never believed in being an insider or an outsider. I genuinely am saying this, I'm not saying this for effect. I wrote a script, I went to Dharma, people told me Karan will never read your script. I said, why? I feel it has the opportunity to be a good film. I went, my first meeting, he read my script, called me 2 weeks later and said, let's make this movie. So he never once asked me that, are you some famous person's son, or do you think we can capitalize on the fact that you are, your name can sell or anything of that sort. And even getting back to the issue, yeah, actors are getting launched because they are star children, but their parents have worked hard for that. They have been here, and tomorrow if I'm doing well in the industry 30 years later, if my child wants to be an actor, I'm not going to hit them and say, "Band paware na." I'm going to say, okay, I'll try and help you in whatever way I can. I think they're doing that. The question should be, are those people hardworking enough, or are they working hard because of the opportunities they're getting? We are always going to live in an unfair world. When Bill Gates went back to his college, the first thing he said, he was a dropout. He went back to the college and the first thing he said is, life is unfair. Learn to deal with it. And that's the reality of it. So it is unfair to deal with it.
A creative industry owes its audience to sort of, scout out the best talent and not some exclusive gene pool that's been passed
in Ethiopia,
on.
not in the real world.
That's exactly what we were talking about.
I can only speak from experience and share what I have seen. I think the people who really thrive and survive in our industry are those who are resilient, who are commitment and hardworking. Whether they are born to parents of actors or born to directors or producers, I think what sees them through the distance and carries them forward is their individual strength. And while there may be an initial opportunity because you are connected to the industry, I don't believe that if you were lacking in talent, it could see you through a lifetime of work. And I say this as a complete not as just somebody who's been a part of the industry now for 17 years. I've been a part of enough work, cycles. I've seen many phases the industry has gone through, and I really think that it's all dependent on an individual's ability to see themselves through, how much, like for example, when I started out, I did not have what you call a godfather. I didn't have a special friend who was guiding me through the ropes of the industry or telling me what films I should be doing or what editions I should be doing or any some such. I failed, I struggled, I faltered, I learned from my mistakes and I evolved as an individual, at least I hope I have. And that evolution has determined my choices. And I think that would hold true for everyone. I always think about this and it makes me wonder that in a world where tradition and culture has been always passed on from generation to generation, right? I talk about handicraft. If our karigars, our handicraftsmen, had not taught his children how to do handicraft, traditions would have died. That craft would have died with the hands that learnt in the first place. So I think that when we speak of opportunity, it's a very fair question to ask. Everybody deserves opportunity. But I really think that those who manage to survive and succeed are those who convert that opportunity with sincerity, confidence and talent. So I don't understand this nepotism debate. I think that some people have just made very big headlines by seeing whatever they have to.
I think the difference is the number of opportunities. You're constantly propelled into stardom unless you become one, or you prove that you have no merit whatsoever. So then you give up, but then you still get 10, 15 chances. compared to
Nobody is getting 10, 15
No,
chances. to
not
book
really.
a-
I think
Shashank, 15 films Abhishek Bachchan did. Yuva, his first hit was his 16th
15
film.
bad films even Akshay Kumar did, and he was not an outsider. That was a different time. It was a different generation. Akshay Kumar has had a number of flops. He's an outsider, but today he's a big star. He's a...
Beginning of his
Huh?
not his first few films, but Abhishek.
He
you
first
know,
or two.
a lot
Just
of
because you asked is why I'm invoking the name.
Can I tell you something?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me use my own example, Shashank. Outsider. Okay? Practically all of the films I've done have failed. Okay? But I still got work. Why? Because I'm disciplined, I'm professional, I care about my craft, I've worked really hard on every film that I've been a part of. The people I work with love working with me, and people believe in my sincerity and my commitment to my job. So I get repeated chances. Does that mean somebody else is less qualified for the job? No. Does that mean that I don't have merit to get the jobs that I get? No. I feel that it's a combination of many things, and it's all too convenient to say that I don't get my due or my slice of heaven or my slice of sunshine because of so and so or so and so and so and so. I really think that everything that we make out of life is a sum total of our own attitude and our choices. And it's too easy to say that so and so got multiple choices because they're the sons or daughters of so and so. But
I
think
really want you to open up now.
Why do you want me to open up? No, I mean, I'm sort of, like I said, I'm going to hold back from commenting on anything when it comes to nepotism, and I don't understand why there was such a big deal made of it. In fact, so I do a show called No Filter Neha, and Rishi Kapoor was one of my guests, and I remember him commenting on the whole nepotism topic. And I'm going to quote something or remotely something that Rishi Kapoor actually came and said. And he just turned around and said one thing. He's like, he personally, or his personal view was that it's been harder for Ranbir than it has been for any other actor. For instance, you know, a couple of his films haven't done really well. The choices that he's made, he's never agreed with, you know, the advice that you get at home. You actually think that, you know, maybe your crutch is the lineage that you come from, and they'll tell you what to do, what not to do. But his point of view was that it's harder for star kids to actually prove themselves because there's a direct comparison. For instance, if Sachin Tendulkar's son is now, you know, he's a cricketer, he'll always, no matter what happens, be compared to Sachin Tendulkar. Likewise for star kids. Flip side, if you talk about Diya and me, pretty much started our careers together. We're still here. I think apart from all the qualities that she mentioned, I totally agree with her. The one important quality that you need to have in this city is you need to learn how to hustle. You gotta hustle your way up, man, every day. No, whether you're shooting, not shooting, writing, not writing, I promise you, get up and say, I'm going to work. And what is your job? Get up and I'm telling you, hustle. That's how you make it in Mumbai. There's no other way of making it in this crazy town. Because for every job that there is out there, the truth is that there are a million or at least 10,000 other takers. The reality is maybe the star kid gets a special mention, like let's try him out. But if he or she today, I'm not talking about 10 years ago, today if he or she isn't good enough, then he will not be taken. Yes, there may be a little bit of a green carpet, red carpet, environmentally friendly or not, carpet rolled out for her or him, you know, just for that audition, just the end. Maybe they don't have to stand in lines, but will the audience love them? There have been, even in 2017, star kids that have been launched, but guess what? Even I don't know what their names are. But I know there's somebody famous, sons, daughters, etc., etc. So they don't have it easy. Having said that, man, I know how tough I've had it, so we don't have it easy either, because apart from looking into script and everything, we also have to worry about, oh, aaj jaake sabzi lekar aani hai, abhi rent dena hai, ghar chalana hai, first 5 years EMI deni hai, bahut mushkil hota hai.
I think the debate rests with that. It's just an acknowledgement that the field is not a level playing one.
Not,
it's tilted in their favor. That's it.
No.
Nobody expects it to disappear overnight.
It's never going to be
No, it's never
any
going
field
to be.
in
No
life. I
field
mean,
is
don't we
level
go to a...
No field is level played.
But for every Alia and Varun launch, there's also Siddharth Siddharth Malhotra in the industry, and there's nothing wrong with that. So if you're talking about playing field, whether it's level, yeah, maybe 2:1, but even that one makes it, even the other two make it, so it's fine.
But the very important thing is that, and the only reason why I chose to answer this question is because I know there are a lot of young people out there who are aspiring filmmakers and actors who've suddenly said, "Mera to kuch nahi hone wala yaar." Because unless I am a part of the film industry or I have some connection in the industry, mera to kuch nahi hone wala hai. And that really disturbs me. It bothers me that this stupid debate has made young people in our country believe that they don't have a chance because we've just gone out there and said it's an unfair place. Every industry has its challenges.
Make it right.
Nobody said it's right. No one. I don't think anybody has said it's right.
It doesn't diminish your dreams.
Exactly.
It doesn't make you feel that तुम्हारा कुछ नहीं होगा. The point being that.
And I really feel that
need
the
to go and
comment.
do it. If you love movies, you go and try as hard as you can.
And the point being that...
They're gonna kill me and never invite me ever again.
No, the point being that the global dominator of Indian cinema, Priyanka Chopra, is not somebody who is a star
She's
kid.
from Bareilly.
तो आप सबका सब कुछ हो सकता है. So don't worry about it.
That note, guys, thank you all of you for this wonderful, thought-provoking discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed talking about it. We don't have time for questions, nothing. Oh, okay, there was a... do we have time for that? 5 minutes for people? Yeah, go ahead. Do you have a mic, do you?
Yeah, hi. So I have a small question for you. I'm an advocate, I'm a law graduate, I'm an aspiring actor too. So I have no problem with the nepotism. Obviously, my dad is an advocate. He will promote me to the extent he can go because he wants me to settle. But here in this industry, it's so disorganized. Here we are stuck in the lowest of the hierarchy. We don't know where to be. We don't know the right place, the right time, the right people. How do we go there? How do we portray ourselves? Today I have the opportunity. I am able to express myself. But other times you don't even feel like, am I worth enough to, tell them, like, am I meeting right people? Am I auditioning for the right people? Is it reaching the right people? So we are like full of the questions.
There's more method in the madness today than there was when I joined the industry. Today, at least, you have something called casting directors who are taken seriously, who are genuinely casting for films. When I started out, I think the director chose his talent, and sometimes even the male actor decided who his co-actor would be. A lot is changing. So hang in there. The only thing that you can do is ensure that whatever path you're pursuing, whether especially with auditions and the like, I think there are enough established websites on the internet now and agencies that are constantly putting up information that is legitimate information. Try and, kind of get whatever information you're receiving checked before you go out there and do what you have to do. My brother-in-law is an aspiring actor, and I know the struggle of an aspiring actor. I know how many hours he stands in queues trying to get in an audition. I know how he gets treated at auditions. And it's tough. It's very challenging because I think much like every other industry in our country, there are so many people who want to do the same job. And there are only that many films and that many shows and only that much content being made. So it is a struggle. But I really feel that if you're hardworking and you really pursue it with all your honesty, you will get the opportunities you want. And if you don't get them in time, give yourself a time frame. I always say that. Give yourself a time frame.
And I would say also train to be an actor.
And it's great that you're an advocate because at least you will have other things to count on and depend on. You're not solely dependent on, earning through an acting job. It's not easy being an upcoming struggling actor.
You can sue the industry.
No, and definitely train. You know, you train to be a lawyer, you study to be a lawyer, study to be an actor. People take acting for granted at times. And you know what happens is when you go to acting school, or for that matter you go, you'll start making your contacts over there itself. People will reach out to you. People in this country undermine training, especially when it comes to acting a lot. You know, need to train. I didn't know anything about this industry. I was in Nasik, I grew, and I said, "Main kya karu?" And I heard of Whistling Woods and I went there. And I had my experiences there. But it also taught me how to hustle. It taught me how to go and project myself correctly. You asked about how do I project myself. When you start training, you start learning. So I would encourage you to also train, you know, because what happens is we just get up one day, chalo yaar, hum body banayenge, hum training, hum jayenge acting karne, and then we start searching for casting directors. But versus without looking at yourself. Because my point is, even if you get the opportunity to audition, are you going to crack that audition? You're only going to crack that audition if you know how to act. That's the reality.
That's the thing, and I am too wise enough for that. I have been training for it for like past 2 years. I was in Delhi when I was completing my graduation.
Super.
You can't go to the war without your weapons.
Right.
So I'm preparing myself.
Thanks. We just have a question that he's been waiting. Yeah.
Hello. Sat Shri Akal.
Sat Shri Akal.
Coming from Jalandhar and listening to you guys is very big motivation for me. I am an aspiring filmmaker. I want to make big in Bollywood. So, coming to songs, I am writing a story, or whenever I make a short film, after every scene, I choose a song from Bollywood or Punjabi song or something that supports the story and takes this story forward. So this is the best. I don't think कि songs हम West को देखते हैं, West को बोलते हैं कि songs नहीं होते हैं, movies make big. जब मैं West की कोई Hollywood movie देखता हूँ तो यहाँ पे अगर कहीं ततड़ होता ना तो क्या बात हो जाती है. Why we should not say कि Bollywood में songs कम हो जाने चाहिए, we should say कि Hollywood में songs आ जाने चाहिए. So we should have this dynamic.
Irshad sir also agrees with you because Irshad sir like गाने बढ़ेंगे मैं और लिखूंगा. Correct?
The girl right there.
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Trisha Bhatani and I'm an aspiring filmmaker. I'm currently a media student.
And she's from Nasik!
Yes.
My friend guys, say hi to her. Nepotism.
Hi.
You will get an opportunity. Come and meet me in the office.
Thank you.
Now say.
Yes, so aspiring to be a filmmaker, Diya ma'am, I've seen Love Breakup Zindagi so many times. When I see that movie, I see Jai and I see Naina's story and I feel a part of their story. But I want to be the one making that film, you know, I want to make content. But when we talk about nepotism, I'm not supporting it, I'm not saying it's there, but I don't have any connections unless Shashank Bhaiya is there. But then when...
It's getting video recorded.
I told you, I don't like her. She's from Nasik, my family friend, I won't help her.
But then when you look at it, you work with Dharma Productions and I look up to Karan Johar, I want to work with him. So how can I get my script to his table? What are the first steps after you write your script?
Okay, it's very simple.
No, 1 second. You're talking to me or to him?
To all of you all, actually it's an honor to talk to all of you.
No, I'll tell you what, I had a simple process, I followed that. I went to film school, I learned, though I learned acting over there, but we had a foundation program whereby we learned everything, all about the craft. I invested a lot of time post-graduating just writing scripts. So people only know your journey from the first release. They normally don't look at your journey before that. Everyone thinks that, oh, I walked into Karan's office almost like driving in and said, here, meri script aap bana do. I wrote 6 screenplays before my 7th screenplay, Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania, got approved. And they were not 6 stories or ideas. They were 6 full-fledged screenplays, 120 pages with dialogues. That was my learning. I kept writing a script. I said, okay, I'm going to fumble. I would go there and most companies today, and if you're talking about Dharma and Specific, we have a creative department. You can email the script. Companies open enough for you to come to the reception and leave your script with signing an NDA. And those scripts are read. As we talk, I have 2 friends of mine who have pitched scripts in Dharma and not come through me, whom they know. And I said, go pitch it to the department. They've pitched it and they've got calls to go and meet Karan. So it's a very, very simple thing. The point is you train, you learn the art of writing, you learn how to write. We see movies, we all have ideas when we see movies and we say, ki, ये सीन ना मैं ऐसा करता और वो सीन ना मैं वैसा करता, but there's a certain grammar to it when you start writing it. When you start writing it, you will start realizing that वो जो मैं सीन सोच रहा था ना वो कभी फिट ही नहीं होगा यहाँ पर. You know, and that's when you start training yourself into saying that how do you write 120 pages? After you finish the interval point, sometimes you don't know what to write. So that's your learning curve. Write that script. And the pitching is much easier than what it used to be. Most departments have creative departments now. You can go over there, give your script, they are read, and feedback is given to you, even if it is disapproved. Even if they don't like the script, there's a message that goes out to say, hey, we didn't like the script. But it's a very, very simple process now, in that sense.
Also, I'd like to add, and this may answer the question for a lot of budding filmmakers and actors out there, there is such dearth of content in the industry, and there is a lot of writing content which everybody wakes up in the morning and they're like, aaj koi interesting script la ke do, aaj koi interesting script. So like Shashank said, if you're out there and if you know that you studied the craft, you know that yes, this is a script you believe in, it's bloody good, make sure it gets to the right desk, because you'll be surprised. Everyone who's made great films, at some point they were writing it, at some point they were also, having this big question mark on their faces, कि मैं कैसे करूँगा? Case in point, Shashank is right here. And you think कि नहीं मेरा कुछ नहीं होगा, but it's going to happen. Like for instance, I'm going back many, many, many years, and I was literally playing basketball in City Fort. I don't know how many of you actually know Delhi really well. It's an auditorium like this. This boy, yeah, looks like a Delhi boy. And yeah, and it means he knows what I mean. And I'm playing basketball and somebody's like, "Tu Miss India ke liye chale jaa," and I'm just like, "नहीं, मेरा कुछ नहीं होगा. मैं कैसे करूँगी?" Different. And Dia had become Miss India right before and Miss everything else before. I was like, I don't look anything like her. मेरा कुछ नहीं होगा. So and then I'm just like, let me just give it a shot. And let me give it my 100% and it'll happen. The point is, we wake up every morning, I'm producing content, not for cinema, but for digital. There's a producer right here, there's a director who knows producers, who's been through the grind like you have. All of us are saying there is lack of great content and everybody is looking to making it. Once again, Rajat Kapoor, one of the finest filmmakers we have, may have not done amazing commercial 100, 200, 300 crore films. Right now, he's making a film called RK versus RK, which is amazing, which is an amazing script. I've read it. He has no money. He is crowdfunding it on Twitter and on other social media platforms.
Last time we finally got funds.
Yes, and then now he's got it from different places, but he put it out there. It's not that his level of frustration.
Out of ego.
Yeah,
and they said, how could I let people know that I'm struggling to put money together to make a film?
Yeah, and the thing is, the minute you make a film, and unfortunately if it doesn't work, you come back to basics. You're back to ground zero, and you have to start all over again. So whether it's crowdfunding, making a short, Whiplash, for instance, Oscar-winning film. The first time Whiplash was made was a short film. I don't know how many of you filmmakers, aspiring filmmakers have actually seen. It was a 17-minute film that was made. So that's how you make it. Make a short. Get crowdfunding. Get your friends to help you out.
Take a loan from your uncle.
Yeah. Don't say, ab main kya karungi, and don't romanticize things ki jiska jo hoga wo hoga aur aage kudrat mera kuch nahi hoga. Ut ke karo. That's all you need to do.
Well done. Well, come on, give it up for all of them.
I have to end this because I was dying to speak. ये दोनों ने monologue दे दिया. लेकिन I have to share 3 things with you. One, जब मैंने लव ब्रेकअप जिंदगी बनाई, I was 26 years old. I had an acting career and I chose to be a producer, and everybody's like, your acting career is going to be finished because how can you be a producer? So first thing is, there is no such rule that if you're doing one thing, you can't do another. If you believe you can, you can. Okay. Number 2, I've mortgaged my home and made my film. Okay. So a lot of people will say, never back. If I don't back myself, who's going to back me? I have to back my beliefs. I have to back my dreams and aspirations. So yes, if you risk nothing, you will risk nothing in life. You have to take a chance. But don't be stupid while doing it. Don't be unrealistic. Don't be impractical. So there is something called reality that you need to be in touch with. So it's really good to dream and all of that. But
But you have to have a realistic approach to that dream, which is why when a struggling actor meets me, I say, cap it, man, keep a timeline. Try, be realistic, because if it's not translating, it means perhaps you don't have it. Or perhaps the timing for you right now is not right? So, the only thing that I would want to leave you all with is one thought, that your biggest arsenal, your biggest strength, your biggest power in today's time will be your level of preparedness that meets opportunity. And go out there and do it. And if you fail, try again. Get up and do it again. And I think Neha and I are standing examples of that. We've never allowed our failures, sitting and standing, we've never allowed the failures or some of the jobs that we have done to determine or reduce the extent of our individual capability. We are about so much more than the world would like to believe. And we will keep doing things to establish that. And as young, enterprising individuals, writers, actors, filmmakers, whatever your genre that you want to pursue, just keep working and communicate, reach out to people. Dharma production office is always open, Born Free is always open, we have a website.
Big Girl Productions, which is my production, is always
Big Girl
open.
is always open.